That's interesting. Let's see here. Let's go tell the world. Let's make sure this works. Let's tell that person. Where did he go? Where did she go? Okay. I guess I should shut down some PRs. Okay. I don't know if anybody's on, but let's maybe set up some context. So we built this component, and if you go to adobe.com, you can see this component in action, where we have vertically centered content, and as we sort of shrink it down, it does all sorts of different interesting things. And the same thing with these 3 different, we call them cards. And we have, nice alignment, very similar to Flexbox. And if you're not familiar, we can do CSS Tricks, Flexbox. And basically what we implemented on Dexter is our internal adobe.com project. We implemented the entire Flexbox standard. So item ordering, display flex, obviously, flex direction, so left to right, right to left. We didn't find that top to bottom. We actually started out implementing top to bottom, but we didn't find that having column really affected much. Flex grow, flex wrap, flex shrink, flex basis, justify content, so space between. How much space do you want? Just figure it out. Because historically, AEM has been really column-based. You have the responsive grid, and just modern layouts don't really necessarily fall into a 12-column grid at all the time. So we needed something that could basically do everything you're seeing here. A really good example is if we go to adobe.com and we go to mini plans, photoshop.html. you can see these cards, and these cards are fixed in size. And so if you have fixed widths and you just want a little bit of gap, that's not really good for a column-based approach or using responsive grid. Same thing with vertically centering content. Again, it's mostly Bootstrap, so it just doesn't really, just doesn't work very well. We also had, we can actually switch out here, products, Photoshop. We also had these use cases where, again, vertically centered content. But you'll notice we have image, text, image. So that's great on desktop, but as we shrink down, we want that to be the reverse. So we actually use item ordering. So this, if we look at AM core components, if we go look at the GitHub. So we said we wanted to give this very powerful, and actually I can show kind of all the different permutations. So we have all these different permutations. So just figuring out the size of the content, one defined item with multiple items, doing percentage-based widths instead of, columns mapped to percentages. But what if you want to do 30 instead of like 33.333? You can do that. So 30-70 split. Of course, fixed sizes. Let's see here. Putting gap in. So one thing you might be asking is, why didn't you use CSS Grid? Well, Adobe.com has to support IE11. So you can't have authorability, CSS Grid, and IE11. You can't, there's a lot of really interesting sort of CSS processors that can sort of polyfill-esque CSS Grid to behave like Flexbox, but you can't do it dynamically because a lot of the CSS that we're generating is powered through Java. So again, here's justify start, space between justify, with rows even. So you can just say like, I've got these 6 cards, they're all 400 pixels, just figure out the rest. And of course we do. So we have like literally, I think a colleague of mine named Ryan Clayton built this page, and just like all the crazy permutations of what you can do in Flexbox. And this is all 100% authored. So you don't have to kick out to a CSS engineer or a front-end engineer to build all this stuff. We can go directly to authors and have them build this stuff. And you can see, of course, here's our. So we knew we had this extremely powerful component, and I'll show the dialog actually. Let's go to my local. So this all works right now. If we go, let's just open up the US page. So we can pull out Flex Container and configure it. And so you can see this. Item justification, item alignment, row alignment, item content alignment. And you can do that across mobile, tablet, desktop. And then, of course, we have other properties like general. So you can have a container. That's, again, very bootstrappy. Don't allow this content to go beyond a certain max. So if I have a really large monitor. Enable a CTA. This is the ability to, basically you have your content, but you want your entire card to be clickable. So we add a CTA. Bunch of accessibility, visibility, which I won't get into, DOM tagging for SEO purposes and analytics reasons. Because when you have this generic component that can do everything, you sort of, when you start to think about areas of your page, how do you identify what a hero is or what a marquee is versus, some other section of the page. So we needed a way to add context around that parts of the page and have it be authorable. Because on Adobe.com, we don't have a marquee component. We don't have a section component. We just have these 2 really powerful multi-purpose components that you can build anything with. In style, we have the ability to do background video and borders and border radius, drop shadow. Again, this is all authorable. Spacing, so if you want to do, top padding, I want 64 pixels, go for it. I want top padding on mobile to be 64 pixels, but on tablet I want, I don't know, bottom 52 pixels. Again, go for it. So we have this inheritance model for the responsive property, so everything is built mobile first. But you'll notice one of the challenges, especially as we go into building this in the public Adobe DX project, which I'll get to in a second, we have this horizontal list of mobile, tablet, desktop, but then when you get into these sort of legacy tabs, we're now looking at a vertical list of mobile, tablet, desktop. So this is part of the sort of information architecture in the dialog that we want to sort of fix. Same thing with background. We had a requirement that came in where it was actually the homepage where we had mobile, tablet, desktop. So the homepage, they actually wanted to display completely different images, not even just, oh, I want this cropped a little bit differently for mobile, so give me a little bit different rendition. They actually wanted a totally different image, because you could think like, let's say you're thinking about Dot Cloud, well, you're thinking in terms of like Acrobat Pro. But then if you're on a mobile device, well, what do you, when you think of Dot Cloud, it's probably like e-signatures, PDF on the go, PDF on your phone. So they wanted different images. The same thing with color. Again, you can do background color. And again, we have this always everything, almost nearly everything is mobile, tablet, desktop. So we have this pattern of mobile first, but you can always change at any breakpoint. So that's kind of the component itself. Now, as I said, if we go in, we look at issues, and I think we can look for, see, oh, there it was, Chris, boom, and so we originally, back in February, I basically said we should be contributing this to the Core Components initiative, because that team has done incredible work. And then basically, as we started to look at the requirements and everything that would need to be in there in order for Adobe.com to be able to use it, it was very overbearing. And so we sort of backed up and we said, well, how can we get this out there, but without sort of being such an overbearing component for the Core Component Initiative? So that's where we came up with something that's called Adobe DX. So Adobe DX, you can go see it right now, is basically all the stuff that we're building on Adobe.com and open sourcing. So there are some things in here already that are super usable. So we have, if we go to, I'll just go to my local host. We have this configuration manager. So we'll go to Cloud Services, Config Manager. Wait for it. Lovely. There's probably a 500 here. Yay. So I'll have to figure that out. So in theory, we have a bunch of different tools. So in apps, we have admin. And this was basically a little project where you look at, if we go here, DX and config manager, if you go and you look, so we basically have the Granite UI component shell page, and that renders sort of the top area, as you can see. It's this sort of, this is everything that's in there. So the tools, the little thing, and then we actually have a really simple DX config manager content page. And what that content page looks like is, boom, components, content. And so we basically pull in React CSS. We just have a client lib that we call React, and then a client lib JS. Again, and it's just, we call it React because it's all React based. No more jQuery, no more Granite, none of that. All that's gone. And what that ends up looking like is actually really kind of amazing. So if we go to React and JavaScript, app.js. So what we have is we sort of scaffold out a config manager, and then anyone can actually add their own configuration here. So you have Adobe Fonts config. So we just sort of, again, it's just an array. So we just say, hey, Adobe Fonts, and we have a nice little pretty label, and the app is Adobe Fonts config. And then we render our config manager. So that's how simple this is. And then if we look at config manager, again, no jQuery, no jQuery. So we just have config manager, extends React component, new config data source. And so we're actually, this will eventually be open source, but we are using internal React Spectrum components. So Spectrum is the design language, and if you're using AEM as a cloud service, you see a lot of the newer UI. That is all Spectrum. And everything we're doing today is going to be in AEM as a cloud service, as we have a cloud-ready jar. But you can see it's just sort of setting state, selection change, navigate, open dialog, just setting state based off of, a few parameters. And then we just render it, action menu, create menu, provider, dialog. And then we figure out, it's kind of unfortunate, we should probably debug this. We figure out inside dialogues, so if you look at the main dialog, this is pretty cool. We actually figure out, like, as props are passed in, is the dialog a folder? Is it a delete dialog? Is it a config dialog, like the Adobe Fonts one? And so that figures out which dialog we need to display. Okay, so let's go see. And I am going to kind of keep an eye on my email and stuff, so if I need to go, I'm going to do that. Okay, so let's start. Let's look at where we are, excuse me. We have our project. Now I had to get it into a usable state. I started trying to work with Nicolas Pelletier, who also works on the Adobe.com team. He sort of scaffolded out a bunch of things. So like our docs site, which is sort of like the archetype almost. It's very archetype-like. So we can go in here and we can go into apps and we can see docs. So this is a very typical implementation. So you have content, conf, apps, and in conf we have all of our editable templates and everything. So he scaffolded all that out. And he also scaffolded out structure. So if we go to core, we can see that we have flex model. So awesome, right? And we have app. And if we go and we drill in really deep, structure, flex, and we can see that flex HTML. So he has this nice, and just sort of like, Chris, just write your code right here. Problem was that didn't quite work. So we had to change a bunch of things. The first one was basically that we needed to add the group DX to the allowed components to our editable template. And I think this was previously full width, but the content tree was actually that it should be a templates content page template. And same thing here, so template type, and then fix all these other pieces. So this is template type. Again, more of that. We also had a problem where the structure core bundle was not getting installed, so we fixed that. We don't need is container because Flex container, while it has container in the name, it's really just a wrapper around a parses. We really try to lean on the product wherever possible, so we use responsive grid. So really, if you look at, we can actually show, let's go pull up regular Dexter. So we'll just go to flex.html. So this is what it looks like today. So if you see really down here, you'll see that we have a parses. So Flex container is like a wrapper around the parses because we want to leave that whole like all the drag and drop and the allowed components and all that stuff we want to lean on the product for. We did. So in the case of Dexter and in the case of Adobe DX, we did create something called Parlite, which is basically the Parsys, but backed by a model, not JSP, not backed by the JavaScript use classes, which are, there's two Parsys in libs right now. One has the JavaScript use stuff, and then the other one is JSP based. And it also has columns, so we didn't need all that. So we actually wrote a small wrapper around that. So there's Flex. And so what I like to do is when I'm getting, into a new project, I just want to see, like, does this work? And it didn't. So, but luckily with this PR that we're about to send, what is this? Oh yeah, this is our generic. We have a simple dialog, which we need to port all the CQ design dialog, CQ dialog, dialog definitions, dialog desktop, dialog general, dialog mobile, dialog tablet. We need to port all that, as well as the icon, etc. But this is a nice little scaffold. In fact, let's do this. So we'll go to CQ dialog, and because I stole it from one of our internal components, Flex container, and we have, okay, cool, our help path is fixed. So we have a small little PR for all this to work. The other thing I found out was that this package was private. So we added package info. So now we're going to send a PR. So let's do that. Okay. So there were some other things that I had updated. So we'll just say git checkout -b. Let's go make a new issue just so we can track it. We are going to say Flex model is private. We'll just say not available. And we'll say, why is it doing that? That's not super fun. Flex model is available to Flex HTML. Actual behavior, it's not. Try to use Flex components. Submit new issue. And let's just assign me. And now we have 71. So we can just say git checkout b, gh 71, Flex model availability. Bloop. 71, Flex model availability. Okay, so what I like to do, oops. So made Flex model not private, added filter true to structure core, adjustments to template naming conventions, small, method in Flex model to validate. It works. So this resolves G71. Boop. So it's amazing how much. Come on, Vim. Stop being a jerk. Okay, there we go. Push origin and what? No, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, that sucks. I just upgraded to Catalina and Z. Is it ZSH? Z? I don't remember. Anyway, it's not working. Flex model works. That's super annoying because now I have to write that. So I always like one commit per PR because it makes it really easy to cherry pick features or fixes. And that's so annoying. Flex model availability. This is so annoying that I have to do this, but I'm really not going to troubleshoot Catalina stuff right now. So you get to watch me type all of this again. Made flex model public package, adding package info .java added filter true to POM, so structure core would deploy. Let's see here. Added basic. Changed template names so policies could work correctly. What else? Added a basic method and wired up flex HTML. There we go. That's really annoying that I had to write that twice. No, it doesn't. So we'll wait for that to excuse me. Okay. So now that that's all done, let's go back. Okay. So we have get hello. Yay! What should we do first? Let's go look at the dialogue. I'm a very visual person, so I always sort of work from the front to the back, just because like I like to approach things for how a visitor sees things or how an author sees things. Really, my customer is an author. So for all the BDD people, if you're watching this, apologies in advance. I don't do that. I don't write tests and then write my code to satisfy those tests. I think of things as terms of satisfying my UX particulars. Okay, so we can shut all this down because we know what's working. We can shut that down, shut that down, shut that down, shut that down. We should actually ask somebody to, well, we'll just, that's our local. This is our 6.4 instance. We'll just leave that running. Okay, so let's refresh this. And let's go. My wife's trying to come in and get something off the printer. So let's go. So that's still working. Yay! So we have Flex. Of course, it doesn't have a CQ design dialog, so we should probably fix that while we're here. Again, I just like to steal things rather than writing out a bunch of XML. So I'll just reveal this in Finder. And we can go, I think if we look for, if we go to, that's admin, docs, source, maps, components, content, structure, new. Does any of these have? None of them have it. Seriously? Come on. I think he's got, if we look, we have that Parlight. Yes. So we can take that. All right. So we've got that and that, and we can just, let's just throw that in here. And I think, if I remember correctly, we have AM sync running. So that should just deploy. So if we refresh, we should have, hey, cool. but it's not going to be right. So let's look at it. It's got all sorts of weird stuff in it. Allowed components. Yeah, none of this. We don't want any of this. So let's just go again. So we don't have to we're not going to include any of that right yet. And we will call this flex container, of course. Okay, cool. Now, so we have, let's make sure our dialog works. And what we could do is, since we have in apps all, docs, we should have a content. So USEN, boom. So this has content page template, but what we want, if we're going to scaffold this out so we don't have to like redo this over and over again, we want, let's go to docs, conf, dx docs settings, WCM, template types, because right now what's going to happen is every time we deploy, it's very similar, again, very similar to the archetype. If we're trying to look at this content, if I create a page, so if I go to sites and DX documentation, US, EN, if I create a page, DX docs content page, if I just say, we'll just call it lobby, that's what we call our homepage on adobe.com, call it the lobby, I don't know why. So if we create that, it's got stuff in it. So it's got the root parse this, and then of course it's got the content parse this. So if you're not familiar with that, that's a pretty common pattern that back in the Wii retail days, that's when they first did editable templates. They always had a root and a content page. So what we're going to do, that's funny. This was pulled from an internal Dexter piece. So we'll just take this and we'll take root. We need all that. But you'll see, I'll show you if we deploy this. So we're like, hey, we fixed a bunch of crap. Let's go redeploy. Let's go see if I can find it. We have this build DX fast. Which basically does not run NPM and it doesn't run tests. So we can kind of see our stuff really fast. Okay, cool. So you'll notice that it 404s because our content basically clobbered the content page that we wrote. So we might as well just we'll go here and we'll go to EN, and we will not close this. DCR content, boom, and we will throw that in. So now we have a root content, and what we really want, boom, content, what we really want is, we'll take this, and we should be able to do, boom, flex, and I believe it's, let's make this self-closing, of course, and this is now DX. Let's go find out. Apps, DX, components, structure, flex. So DX, components, structure, flex, boom. So now every time we deploy, it should have a flex container for us. So let's go see. I guess I should check to see if anybody's... Like I said, this is probably going to be boring for most people, so you've been warned. Okay, now let's go to that EN page. I think that's the one we did. and it's not there. Where did we do it? We did it on there. So we have that. So that's fixed at least. But why is it not there? Let's try it. Let's see what that looks like. What did I do wrong? Let's go find out. USCN index. What the fuck? That shouldn't be there. That's weird. Root content. Oh, there's 2 flexes. Why is that one wrong? Unix components. Why is that? That's interesting. Let's go find out why. Is it because I made it in code? This is another cool thing that Nicola did. He created this ID service. One of the challenges we have on adobe.com is that we have, if you go look for ID equals, let's just go find one. Not that one, 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 not that one. Here we go. So we have this ID service that's auto-generated, and it's basically like a hash of the current path. That causes a bunch of problems, turns out. So you think path, okay, that's unique. We're not going to have collisions. That's wonderful. The problem is, like, if you move a component, and when you are working with something very modular in XD, like you're constantly moving components around to optimize and do different things. And if you're changing the path, and let's say you're running a target campaign against it, well, your target campaign will blow up. Now, should you be editing a page while you're running a target campaign? No, probably not. But also, if you have some level of personalization, it might just be like always on. You're not necessarily doing an A/B test. So one of the requirements that Nicola and I talked about is like we have to make it target proof and to persist, but yet be unique whenever you create a new one. So there we go. I want to know why that doesn't work though. Sling resource type. That should work. Oh, because I spelled it wrong. That's why. Structure. Okay, let's go see. Change 2 letters, run Maven. Change 2 letters, run Maven. Super fun. I should actually, I think we should run this on DXDocs. I should run EMSync on DXDocs. Cool. And also, in case you're wondering, you're thinking like, oh, what about AEM Fed? What about all that stuff? And this project is sort of in its infancy in some of those regards. Let's go see if that works. So we're in EN. There it is. And that should be the one that we actually made. Bloop. So there we go. Boom. There it is. So we can add properties to it. We actually need an ID, so we should sort of steal. Let's go drop another flex in here. It's really hard to see. Here, it's like mystery meat. You don't know what is there. But let's go see what we have. We'll go steal those properties. So DXID. Let's take that. So just go do, DX underscore ID equals, again, not super exciting stuff. We're not even coding right now. We're just trying to scaffold out some content. Come on, select. Okay, or don't. DX page ID. And we haven't use this. I mean, I'm literally writing the first component that uses these services. So if we find that we have to change these services, I do think the core component team is working on an ID service, which we would probably switch to as soon as we can. So let's make sure that that works. It's already been 45 minutes. Wow. Wild. Hopefully everybody's uh-oh. Oh, the bundle must have been restarting. There we go. So maybe if we refresh, we have that. And we have hello, we have AM grid column, so we have the wrapper, we have the grid wrapper. So that's cool. Let's do the first meaningful thing we should do. Let's go to Flex HTML. And so we don't actually need this. So Sly, and we can just make this, we'll just do Sly. And now we can start to think about stealing from Dexter. When in doubt, steal. So we have, excuse me, sorry. I'm sure that was gross. Dayside test, we have our master div. So we have flex container, and then we have like has video style. We have all this crazy stuff. The only thing we care about right now is probably that. And boom. And we don't have to be too crazy about this. So we are just going to say properties, assuming I can spell, dx_id. Boom, boom. Close that. And we're not going to call this Dexter anymore, of course. Gosh, I really can't type today. Must be like performance anxiety or something. So dx. And I know a lot of people are fans of BEM. We actually use something called Suit CSS. The internal UI language that we use, it's called Spectrum, of course. And Spectrum uses Suit CSS. And it's much simpler than BEM. So if you've obviously heard of BEM, and you feel like it's really overwhelming and very rigorous, and you end up with a lot of extra DOM just because you have to follow these specific naming conventions, you might want to look at Suit CSS. This actually had a huge benefit when we started looking at our Lighthouse performance on adobe.com because BEM really wants everything to be really structured. We can actually go, I'll show you, I'll give you a really good example. GitHub, and I think we can go AM core components. So just taking a look, this is the fastest way I could find a real world example for AM people. Core, WCM, components, text, and we'll look at V2, text, and if we look at text HTML. So we have, we have this div. So you have the wrapper div, of course, right? So that's one div. Then you have this div. And then you have the paragraph model, which actually gets unwrapped, but then you have all the p tags. And so you have to wonder, like, what value is this div wrapper? Because let's say you have 100 text components on your page. Well, that means you're going to have 200 DOM elements on your page. And if you look at DOM size here, you shouldn't be having more than 1,500 nodes. So that stuff really quickly adds up. So that, again, if you're a fan of BEM, great. I think BEM is great for our purposes. Suit really does help us keep some of our DOM down. And we really try to, optimize for Lighthouse and all of that. Oh, somebody's texting me. Let's find out. Let's make sure. Okay. So let's go see if we div ID. Let's just throw this out here. And let's go see if it works. There it is. All right. So we have our ID. Cool. It's actually Nicola, because I was kind of panicking that certain things didn't work. So I sent him a screenshot. It's working. Okay. So we have our ID, but it's properties. And that's kind of weird, like to have some stuff comes from models, some stuff comes from properties. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel like you should do it all or nothing. So we'll just go to Flex Model. And of course, we'll do a, oh my gosh, now it's like totally blanking on me. Let's go to Dexter and look at that Flex Model that I wrote. Post construct, none of that helps. I always forget this. Why do I always forget this? There's a much more interesting way to do this. Sling object. Ah, there we go. Let's just throw that. Okay. Bloop. We are in the wrong project because VS Code is not going to yell at me for this. So let's go to this and we'll open up Flex Model. So boom, boom, and it's going to yell at us. So import value map, import default, and I think string utils. I think we can pull in line 3. Okay, cool. And so we can just say, oh, it's not going to be nav item ID. It's going to be DX ID. Okay. So, oh, is that going to work? It's probably going to have to be named. We'll see. I've never used an underscore like this. String get ID return DX ID. Let's see if it works. Let's go change HTML so we can just say model ID. Same thing here. We'll just steal. Okay. So a guy I used to work with named John Adamson, he had like the best quote of all time, which was, make it work, then make it right, then make it fast. And so we're just making it work right now. And a little bit of make it right, because we're taking everything we've learned from the internal Flex container and we're going to sort of reanimate it in the public space. So let's see. Oh, that's not there. So I think we have to use the named convention. Assuming, let's just validate that we still have a Flex. Okay, so we do have DXID. So we're going to have to do named. So sling models named annotation. Let's go find out what. I think there's a different convention, but let's go default value map value. I wonder if we can find. That's going to be annoying to find in here. Let's see. I feel like there was a better way to do this because that uses the inject, which is old. Let's see. Ah, okay. Didn't know that. Named. We'll just say ID. Screw it. And ID. Wait, I keep going there. That's driving me nuts. JMX. No. No. Where is that? That should be in. Why could it not find it? Yes, I know. What? Again, let's go steal. Where is this coming from? Oh, that's simple. Okay, so it did find it. Ooh, we don't have Java X? No, we're using the Uber jar. That's crazy. Let's go find out. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Why? So, do I have my no. Let's go figure out where the hell our dependencies are. I believe that's Dexter. Let's go. Where did we pull that? I forget where that is these days. Parent. We have a crap ton of dependencies in here. DX parent. Palm. What is that? Java X inject. I find that really hard to believe. Let's go look at a sample project. Sites. Source. Let's see. I think you have like an archetype sample. React on components, test him. My site, core dispatcher. Ooh, here we go. Because I do not remember where. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I forget where it came from. Servlet API. All right. Really? That seems off. Somebody's probably shouting at me on YouTube. Oh, even better. We don't even need that. That's awesome. So, so we don't need that. We just need, where the hell was that? Okay, boom. So it takes that property. And, oh, crap. No. Name. Let's try that. ID. Cool. Let's go see. The last time I wrote any Java of subs. Oh, duh. Last time I wrote any Java of substance, it was like November. When I wrote config manager, which is now 500, so that's great. All right. Whoa. Come on. There we go. Bundle starting. Nope, still doesn't work. Why? Let's go find out. So I did the smart thing. Okay, ID is null. Why? Why is it null? Is that because we're injecting it? We might want to change that. Let's go look at the Sling model documentation. I think that's still using the old. I think all the documentation is using the old stuff, not the newer value map values. Via. I think we can do the @via. I think that's the problem. We'll find out because I think it's adapting from the request. I wonder if that will work with value map value. Again, when in doubt, go find out. What the what? Yeah, we can try it. I don't know. If that doesn't work, we'll just be lazy and just rather make it adaptable from the resource because that's all we need right now. We don't need the request. This is weird. I'm like pair programming with myself. Oh, shit. Probably should step through that. Yeah, I know. Damn. And I'll do self and import self, and we don't need that anymore. Let's just go. That's all terrible. Let's go search for @value map value. Yeah, that should just work. All right. So let's see if we have any more success here. Because I really don't want to deal with this right now. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Wait for it. Wait for it. Come on, bundle. Still not there. That's wild. Why? It's there. We have name, DXID, default values, private string. I have no idea why that doesn't work. Well, let's get crazy. Private void init. Let's say private value map properties. And properties equals resource dot get a value map. And y cannot be resolved to a type. Of course not. Import from the Sling API. Blah, blah, blah. Return. Let's just say value map. It's kind of dumb, but whatever. Because I'm just curious. What are we seeing here? Is our resource working? I guess we could, you know what we could do? Since we're here. Let's go put a breakpoint here. Why is that not working? Oh, because I changed everything. Damn. That was a waste of time. Wait for the bundle to start. Yay! And we should hit. All right, let's go see what we have here. So the resource is null. What the hell? Oh, I know why. I bet. Why is my resource null? Why, oh why is my resource null? Well, let's go find out. We have to say, I just realized, we probably, I wonder where that would be that we define that. We have to say, what is a Sling model? Using the Bund plugin, I think, is how we do it these days. Let's go find out. That's Dexter. And this is structure. This is not something I want. Actually, this is something I want. Models. So we need to find out. We need to say what our Sling models are. Used to, anyways. Let's go see. That's in core. Let's go see. Let me go look at my original configuration manager. That's my site. That's not done. Let's go to config manager and core, because I believe. Whoa, where the hell? Oh, that's my deleted one. Bundles, core. That is in. That's all. Let's go to apps. Talks, structure, we want admin. Let's look at Palm. Let's look at core. So there should be, okay, we really do have to go to my original project. Cause, And we should have, I think, Adobe DX. This is my original. 3 months ago was the last time I wrote anything of substance. Crazy. No wonder I can't code worth shit right now. Ta-da! So I think we need this. I'm 99.9% sure. Sling model packages. That's why nothing works. That's why nothing works. Well, again, when in doubt. So bundles. When did I say it was going to be writing some Java and battling Maven? That's pretty accurate. So we have core, and we should have plugins, Maven. Ooh, here we go. Based on Maven plugin. Let's go throw some stuff in here. This was the Maven plugin. So we just need the executions and dependencies. This is where my very shallow Maven and so we need com Adobe DX. Com Adobe DX. Oh shit. Am I in the wrong spot? Don't tell me I'm in the wrong spot. Bundles core. Shit. That's okay. I guess we'll leave that. So we need to go to DX parent, no, bundles, we need apps, and we need structure. And in core, that's the one we need. Jeez. Okay. And we'll just, again, so I think we can just pull this. So that's the Bun Maven plugin. Same. So we'll drop this. Boom. And bundle symbolic name. We are saying Adobe DX structure. DX structure. Okay. All right. Well, if this breaks, this is going to be annoying because I really don't want to troubleshoot Maven in front of the whole whopping one of you that's probably watching. Let's just make sure Adobe DX structure. Okay, cool. Play through that. Hey, just like it's supposed to work. Holy shit. All this to put an ID. Uh-oh, somebody's texting me. My wife is texting me. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Okay. So we got Flex HTML. We have model.id. Yay! Model.hello. We can probably go back to all the crap that I just had written. So let's go back because I would prefer to base this off the request just in case we need a Sling model exporter. We have a lot less work to do, so we have Sling object. We probably don't need this anymore, so we can get rid of that. So that should work. Save. Make sure nothing's yelling at us, and So we have the Sling request, we have Sling object, resource, blah, blah, blah. And I'll drop that on there, and let's go build that. I'm sure there's like seasoned Java people out there that are like pulling their hair out watching me. Let's go to debug. Hey, look at that. All right, cool. So now we have this request. We have the resource, of course, so that's cool. We know that it's root content flex. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. So we can just play through that. Whoa, it better not be running twice. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's fine, because it is getting it twice. It's getting it here, and then it's getting it here. That's weird, but whatever. So the other thing we don't have is we don't have, that's rough. We don't have any client libs. That's going to be annoying, especially when we're trying to do something clever, something interesting. Well, let's get the multi-field going, and then we can back up. So let's go back to our trusty place we're copying all this code from. So we are looking at flex.html, which will take us here. So we use internally at adobe.com, we also use the proxy pattern. So we have this folder that has components super. So accordion, animation, app banner, card collection, card reference, carousel, CTA, which is a button. So we have this pattern. So I wanted to have this like super clean dialogue. And so you can see, if you even look at, so I separated out the definitions, which is essentially just the multi-field with a bunch of crap in it. So you have like the width offset, you have width and what kind of width do you want, and that's actually pulling from the context-aware data source, which we need to find out if that works. So that's a whole different ball of wax. Width container, all this min height container. So all of this crap you see in here is actually getting stuffed in a multi-field. So mobile, tablet, desktop could all use basically the same include. So if you look at mobile, you see we have the multi-field, and then we are including the CQ dialog definitions via the include. So you don't have to write out all that stuff over and over and over and over again. So I think we're going to still follow this pattern. So I'm going to pull this, and let's just go up to structure and app and source and main and content and GCR root and apps, DX. And what we can do is go to structure, flex, and let's go throw in CQ dialog mobile. Oh, shit. I don't want to remove it from Dexter. They probably need that. And we'll do dialog definitions. I don't think there's anything super custom in there. I think it's all out of the box stuff. CQ dialog definitions. So it's pretty short. Coral. We have some interesting things where we're doing 2 columns. If we go look at that editor, we definitely don't want that. Let's go to content. Let's just go look at this so you can kind of see it. So we can always see like what the heck we're trying to build. So we do a bunch of interesting things. You'll notice that these 2 are side by side. Well, that's not typical of Coral or Granite. You'll also see this little number 1. So have you ever had like a ton of multi-fields and you're like, you get lost in the multi-field? You're like, which one is which? Especially in this like tiny little area. Well, we put a little index there. So we have the, and if you do a custom width, so basically the idea is that you can just add your crap. So if I do, we'll do a new flex container here so you can kind of see how it works. So, and let's delete all this crap. Delete, and I don't think we can delete that because I think it's part of, oh no, it's not. Okay, cool. Why did you not delete? Oh well. Oh, you're just taking forever. Okay. So if I add a text component, it's like like you don't have to think about it. So I add one text component, boom, it just pops up. Well, do I want to like go into the responsive grid layout thing and like fiddle with this? I want two text components the same size, so you drag that little blue line and all that crap. Well, what if we just add another text component? What happens? Boom. So you can kind of just do this, like it really, really speeds up authoring. So you can just go boom, boom, there's my 3 text columns. But there are times where you might want to customize that. So if we were to take, let's say, I wonder if I have an image. Oh yeah, I've got Surfer images. Cool. So I throw an image in there, and there it is, and you'll see the text automatically stretches. So you have column matching. So again, all this stuff you get for free. But you might have a situation where you're like, well, I have a little icon and then text on the side. You know, if we go to like Experience Cloud, I think we have an example of this. Hopefully it doesn't make me a liar. Yeah, so like here's a really simple example. I have an image and text, right? So we might say something like, well, what I want is I want a custom and I want this to be 24 pics. Now, would I go into the image component, then go into the text component? No, we don't want to do that. So we can just say we want 24 pics. And then we actually stole this idea where, you know, when we did all of our research on CSS Grid, we found that CSS Grid has this concept of gap. And we really liked that feature, but we weren't going to use CSS Grid. And it turns out there's actually some really hacky ways to get that into IE11. And so we actually pulled that out, some of those concepts out. And so we actually have the concept of gap, even though we're using Flexbox. So we can say, well, we want 12 pics between these things, and then boom. So now we have, that's a little tiny, so we can just change that. So we'll just say, let's say just 100 again for the sake of showing how it works. And if we preview, but we should probably put some text in here, so let's do that. So we can say, hello, surfers. Boom. And there it is. But we want to. So I look at this and I'm like, well, that kind of looks stupid. Sure, there's that gap there, but we want to center that text with that. Do I go talk to my front-end engineer to center that text because of whatever reason? No, we'll just say, we actually will stretch that, but we'll say item alignment we want to be center. So boom, there it is. Okay, so the complexity of the dialogue is kind of like the organization of the dialogue is super important because it can get really gnarly really fast with something this complex. But it should seem very simple to use, and hopefully it does seem very simple to use. So we're just going to pull in all this stuff. And like I said, I think aside from some CSS, I think we're using all out of the box resource type, granted resource types. So Coral 3, et cetera. We did have to do some show hide stuff for multi-fields because multi-field dropdown doesn't support show hide. So we had to do some stuff there. But again, that's all like really deep in the weeds. So let's go steal this. So we have dialogue. Okay, we're good. So let's go look at our main dialogue. And how do we do this? We have tabs. So we have content. Let's try this and see how it goes. Boom. So we can take all of this and kill it. And then just items. Boom. Make sure this is self-closing. It's always very easy to get tripped up. Oh man, it's really hard not having my normal work keyboard. Items, and then of course content. Boom, boom. Save it. Now AEM Sync may or may not have synced all that for us. So let's go see and let's make sure we don't have. Let's go disconnect our debug because we don't need that. Refresh. Let's see where we're at. Boom, boom. So it's got nothing. So let's go to play it. Because sometimes AEM Sync doesn't like when you do includes. It, for whatever reason, it just like dies. I think Package Manager or something is funky about that. Or we're including the wrong stuff, which is actually even probably way more likely. Yeah, that's why. Although we should have gotten the tab at least. Well, maybe not. Okay, so we need apps, DX, components, structure. Did I spell it right? Plex. Save it. And because it's server side, we don't have to refresh our page. Ta-da! Woo! All right. This is looking good. Let's see what this looks like. That looks terrible. Probably because of the include on Dialog Mobile. Ooh. Oh yeah, we have all those render conditions too. I think we'll leave those in there. AEM's probably dying behind the scenes, but that's okay. So we need, those are mobile definitions. Mobile min height. Where is that include? Boom, here it is. So DX, components. Component structure, flex, CQ dialog definitions. Let's see if that worked for us. Cancel, boom. Yeah, we gotta rebuild. That sucks. So what I think we're going to do. Okay. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. I'm going to time box this and stop at 1. 2 hours is probably plenty for now. Hey, cool. So that's cool, but we aren't populated. We have that context-aware data source that we need to figure out and order. So we don't have any of those options. So that sucks. But at least we're seeing things, right? Min height works. All the pixels are percentage of viewport. Item justification. Ooh, those all came from a context-aware data source too. Okay. Which is open source now. You can actually use that. So let's wire that up for the next half hour. That might be fun. So if we go to, let's go to docs, source, conf. Let's see. Oh, do we have a, where is our, we don't have one? That's kind of wild. We don't have a vault filter. Okay, I guess we will figure this out. So on Dexter, if you look, we have CRX, DE. We had this problem where, you know, we have these different brands, right? Everybody does, really. Or a company the size of Adobe. So, you know, you have Creative Cloud, you have Document Cloud, you have Experience Cloud. But while we are mostly aligned with how things should how things should look, like everything should be a blue button. We have legacy designs that we have struggled to test out of because, you think like, oh wow, that yellow button looks really gross. But you try and test out of it and you find out that like just changing a button from yellow to blue will actually be like a revenue drop of huge, like millions of dollars or something. So you have to have this yellow button, but you don't want that yellow button exposed to like the rest of your brand pages. So we created this context-aware data source, which Nicola kindly ported to DX. And so if you look in global, we have CQ style guide. So we have colors. We have all these spectrum colors to populate a color field. We have components for just like very simple things like how to organize certain properties of a component. So in that particular example, we have flex. And so if you look at flex container, we have the widths, we have the offsets, we have the heights. Although we never ended up adding offsets. We have height, we have justification, item alignment. So we need all of that inside our project. So let's do that. So let's go back to Dexter. And again, great artist steal, but I wrote all that, so it's fine. I can steal for myself. So it's in content now because of AEM as a cloud service. So JCR root, conf, and it's in global right now, but we're going to put it in our DX docs. So let's find that. I'm starting to get cold. I need a sweatshirt. Okay. Sorry, I didn't say there would be a wardrobe change during this. I am no Taylor Swift. All right, so we've got CQ style guide. We're going to go, this is Adobe DX. We'll go to apps and docs and source. Whoa, what? Why doesn't docs have? That's weird. Oh, okay, cool. I'm like, what the hell? So conf, and we're not going to pollute the global context aware scope. So we'll do CQ style guide. Now, let's see. This should have, I believe, let's go see. Thanks, Admock, for telling me I've been updated. Let's go see on localhost. Let's go see what we've got. Boom. It's still there because we're not monitoring that, I don't think. Okay. Let's go see. If it doesn't come in, then we've got to figure out what's going on. But I'm sure it'll come in. We don't need all that crap though. Even our icons we have set as a, and let's go look at the reference. I think it's sling config ref, sling context aware configuration. So find config ref. Yes. We might not need this, but we'll find out. Refresh. Boom. There's our CQ style guide. So let's go see. Let's go see if these populate. Because I think they should. Nope. Okay. So let's go change. We'll see. Conf. Oh, but it's also in a weird. We'll see. Conf dx docs. Add. So that is our context. Let's try it. Oh, and the data source is all funky. Where the hell is it? Where did he put that? Let's go try and use it. Admin. Oh, and we need a resource type. He probably, I wonder if he has that in here. Probably not. This is going to be a little interesting. We'll see if we can do it in time. Oh, dude, he does have it. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. So how the do we copy this? Okay, dx. So we have dx/admin. Let's go to Dialog Mobile. That's dialog definitions, min height, and number field gap justification. Okay, so we don't need that, because so it should be dx components admin components. Oh, this is going to get super weird. Let's just shut down Dexter for now. And dx admin components. Where are the where did I put that? Dx components admin. Oh, it's dx admin components. Why do I keep screwing that up? I wonder if we want to do that. Might be better to, well, I'm going to actually, is this a tab? Let's fix columns and tab, oh, shit. That's okay. Components flex container, that will all stay the same. Bucket name is CQ style guide. DX admin, let's go find out. This will be rad if this works. And I think he ported it mostly unchanged. So maybe while we're waiting, or is this, yeah, we'll see. Okay. Ooh, no caps. So hopefully that, you think that matters? I can't remember where sling is. Context aware data source, that's really hard to read now. Survey says, still doesn't work. We can go trace that and see if we're actually hitting it. So let's go. Not found. Okay. Time to go spelunking. So, DX. Ooh. That's a problem. So that's not being installed. Well, that's not going to work. And I think I know why. My wife's talking about me on Twitter. Why is that not being installed? Because we have admin. Why is admin not? Oh, do we have it as a weird? Foreign structure. Let's go find out. Apps admin. Oh. Oh. That's weird as shit. Apps admin. What? What? That's wild. So that should be right. Apps, so JCR root, apps, DX. Why is it installing? It's installing Adobe Fonts and Config Manager, but not DX components. So it's not installing. So it's not installing admin. Let's find out why. That's why. Haha. Bloop. Bloop. All right. Let's see if you 404 now. Ta-da! Admin, components, data source, context-aware data source. Boom. And we can steal this just to make sure there's no typos. And that's right. Cool. So let's see if it works. Hello. Oh, come on. Really? Let's go add this. Why are you yelling at me? No matching property definition. Oh, to there. I was like, what the? Let's refresh this because it probably got wiped out. Yep. Okay, so conf dx docs. Let's go see dx docs. Just again, sanity sake. Okay. Let's go see. Boom. You gotta be kidding me. All right. Time to go trace. Show. We're in DX. Let's go open up structure admin. I guess we should see if that is still 404ing. Why is that still 404ing? Ooh. Not found. Cannot serve request. Let's go find out why. This might be another, I bet it is another. So let's go pull from structure, core, Palm. Same thing. Pulling the plugin. Boom. And we probably don't need those spaces. Keep getting. Let's see here. We are going to apps, admin, core, Palm, and you'd think what I thought. Maven plugin. Boom. Throw that bad boy in there. And this is apps, admin. Why does that? Oh, shit. This is probably why I'm. That's totally why. This is why I'm 500ing. Sling model packages, admin. Wahoo! Okay. Let's try that. And if this isn't the problem, then we need to like debug for real. Dun, dun, dun. What? Oh, maybe because it probably needs the actual request object. Let's go see. Damn. Now I have to like debug for real. That's annoying. This fake crap. Let's just make sure. Com Adobe DX admin. Okay. Let's go see if my config manager works now. That would be a small win. Config manager. Hey! Oh yeah. So we can go to settings. So this is all React. All this stuff. And all the state and everything. So we can say like, hey, we want to make a new folder. Create folder Adobe Fonts. So we can actually go to settings, cloud configs, and create an Adobe Fonts config. So we know, hey, here it is. And so we can say blah blah. Actually, let's do a real one. Don't try this at home. Type kit, and let's just go. I need a small win right now because I feel kind of defeated. So where the F is my... Oh, there it is. Boom. No CSS. Again, this is totally open source. All you got to do is write this. Link tag, that's cool. Create. Boom. That's in DX, Adobe Fonts. And if we view source, that's not there because what we need to do, go to properties. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know how this, jeez. Advanced and configuration path, boom. And of course we select DX Docs, select, save and continue. And now, if we refresh this page, hey, look at that, boom. You wouldn't believe how many lines of code it took to make that happen. But it's all the new fancy config, cloud config stuff, so that's cool. So small win there. So we know the Sling models are working. Now let's go debug this, which means I need a VS Code. DX Docs, let's go to apps, and we're going to open up admin. And not only are we going to open up admin, but we're actually going to steal. So VS Code, we have this launch JSON. So we can take this and go to admin, drop this in. And with any luck, we can go to our debug menu. Yay, look at that. So we'll just open up context aware data source.java. Okay. I'm sure he wrote all the tests. But let's go see what we got going on here and see if it's even hitting it. Step 1, are you attempting to do anything? The answer is no. F. Okay. So we're not even hitting the class. So there is something. Let's go back. Why is this still 404ing? That should definitely not be 404ing now. Do we need, or do you have to hit the actual HTML page? Let's see. I don't think that copied that. So that served it. Let's go see how we do it on Dexter. So context. Okay, let's first look at where we have that. So dialog definitions, let's just go to mobile. And so we hit, let's keep going, number field, select, blah, 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 data source. Okay. Data source, context aware data source. Okay, so there should be a HTML file in there, context aware data source .html. So let's go where. Let's disconnect. I've got 2 debug sessions going, plus all the live streaming crap. So that's not even running. What the hell? So we have app, source, DX, admin, components, data source. So where is this heading? Ooh, internal. I think I know what the problem is. Excuse me, by the way, sorry. It's the problem that I had the minute ago. Excuse me. That's why. Maybe. But that should not 404. I don't understand why that would be 404ing. Data source internal. So we need a package info. Again, great artist Steel. Internal, new file, package info. Yes, I know it says internal. Again, make it work. Why does it keep doing that? That is not helpful, VS Code. We need admin config manager internal. Nope. Admin. Oh. There we go. Internal. And that's all fine. I really should fix that. Make that an interface, but we're, again, not going to do that right this second. Sheesh. That took a lot longer. What the hell? That's super annoying. Let's see. Let's debug this. Why is this not working? That makes no sense. Why would that be 404ing? Because that's there. Maybe we do need the full. Now my daughter's yelling at me. So that's fun. Oh. Nope. Why is that 404ing? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Data use, admin, data source, internal, context aware data source. I'm not sure why. Let's try and have nothing. You know what? Let's go. We've got another tool up our sleeves. Earrings. What? Why would that be? There's some weird stuff going in. That's interesting. Okay. Why are you 404ing? Oh, lovely. Nothing. I might have to give up. Got 3 minutes. Let's see if I can come up with any ideas here. Let's see if it's dying. We could go look and see if this has to be something instead of NT folder. That's the other thing to go do. Let's just compare. When in doubt, compare. Something that works versus something that doesn't. Components. I have no idea where I put this. Author, data source, context-aware data source. Okay, what is this? NT folder. I wonder if this 404's. Let's go find out. Cool. So I should be getting an exception at the very least. Why does that not work? Texture components, author, data source. WTF. Let's try. Why would that not work? I mean, aside from, maybe it's a, I wonder if this is a, I know this is not it, but why would that not work? It's the same damn thing. I should be getting a 500 error. Oh. Whoa, that's different. Not found. There's my kid. What's up, kiddo?
Look.
Whoa, you broke your princess crown.
You left the door open of the bathroom. Then someone got it.
I'm sorry.
Now I'm angry.
Okay, you're angry. I'm sorry the dog ate that. Can you go talk to your mom? And I'm going to wrap up. Awesome. There's a dog in here now. I guess it's really time to shut it down. Well, I will figure out what happens. We'll try and start this back up tomorrow and see what's going on with the context-aware data source. And then we'll keep debugging. So I'm going to stop streaming. If you watched, great. Thank you. Hopefully it was mildly entertaining. If it was not entertaining, my apologies. Please don't watch again. And yeah, I'll try and do this because it's a little bit of fun and a little bit different from our day-to-day, which is kind of mundane these days. All right.